In July 1976, NASA's Viking 1 lander used a mechanical scoop to collect Martian soil. The sample was delivered to a small laboratory inside the spacecraft. The laboratory added nutrients containing a radioactive form of carbon. Then it watched the gas above the soil. The detector registered a strong response. On Earth, scientists realized this result from the experiment could point to metabolism, something using food and releasing carbon. Yet NASA did not announce life. One experiment had produced the kind of response it was built to detect. The rest of the package did not confirm that biology was responsible. So what had Viking measured? Viking 1 landed on the 20th of July, 1976. Viking 2 reached a different part of Mars that September. Each carried 3 experiments looking for biological activity, plus an instrument that searched for organic compounds. The landers were heat sterilized before launch. NASA wanted any unusual response to come from Mars, not from microorganisms carried from Earth. The idea of the soil experiment was simple. Add liquid nutrients containing radioactive carbon-14. If anything in the soil used that food, tagged carbon might appear in the gas above it, where a detector could measure it. This test was called the labeled release experiment. And the Martian soil responded. The scientists had controls. When a sample was heated to 160 degrees Celsius for 3 hours, the response disappeared. Heating to about 50 degrees weakened it. They also compared Martian results with material from Earth and the Moon. That made a simple instrument fault less convincing and matched one expectation for biology. But heat changes chemistry too. The controls made the result more interesting, not conclusive. The instrument never saw a microbe. It measured radioactive gas. A living process could produce that response. So could a chemical reaction. The test had shown that the soil did something unexpected, not what had caused it. That was why the other instruments mattered. In the gas exchange experiment, moistened soil released oxygen. Another experiment looked for carbon being built into new material and gave weak, variable results. These were puzzling responses, not simple negatives. The final instrument was the gas chromatograph mass spectrometer. Scientists called it the GCMS. It heated samples, separated the released compounds, and searched for organic material. Such material is associated with life, but can also be made without it. Its result created the central conflict. In 4 Viking samples, the GCMS did not identify Martian organic compounds at its stated detection limits. It found trace chlorinated compounds, but these were interpreted as contamination from Earth. Without an independent identification of Martian organic compounds, the biological interpretation became harder to sustain. NASA's current summary is still precise. Viking found unexpected and enigmatic chemical activity, but no definitive evidence of living microorganisms near either landing site. The measurements were real. Their cause was not clear. Viking's experiments revealed highly reactive soil chemistry. When the gas exchange experiment moistened the soil, oxygen was released. Reactive chemistry might also imitate part of a metabolic response. That offered a non-biological explanation. But Viking had not directly identified the process. Chemistry, like biology, was an interpretation of the measurements. 2 layers of the story had become tangled. The labeled release response and its heat controls were observations. So was the GCMS result. It did not identify Martian organics in the samples it tested. Biology and reactive chemistry were explanations. NASA's conclusion was cautious. The complete instrument suite had not established life. Reactive chemistry became the leading non-biological account. While some researchers continued to defend a biological reading, the disagreement was not over whether Viking recorded a response. It was over what kind of world could have produced it. In 2008, the Phoenix lander found perchlorate in Martian soil. Perchlorate is a chlorine-oxygen salt that can strongly alter the chemistry of heated soil. It is not evidence of life. Phoenix was also far from both Viking landing sites. It had not tested the same soil. But the discovery gave scientists a new reason to ask what Viking's heating procedure might have done to Martian material. In 2010, researchers heated organic-bearing Atacama desert soil mixed with magnesium perchlorate in a Viking-style test. It produced chlorinated compounds similar to those Viking detected. They proposed that Viking's oven might have altered or destroyed organics before that instrument could identify them. This did not show perchlorate at either Viking site or prove life. It reopened one part of the case. In April 2026, NASA reported 21 carbon-containing molecules in one Curiosity rock sample. 7 had never previously been detected on Mars. This was another place, another instrument, and ancient rock, rather than Viking soil. The molecules could have biological or geological origins. They are not organisms, and they do not settle Viking's result. They show that organic compounds can be preserved in some Martian rocks. The old shorthand that Viking looked for organics and Mars simply had none is no longer adequate. So, did NASA find life on Mars in 1976? No. Viking did not confirm life. It recorded a response consistent with one expected sign of metabolism, but no organism and no independent set of findings that required a biological explanation. The historical result is still worth investigating. It is not a confirmed discovery. Viking revealed the danger of relying on one persuasive signal. A future claim of life needs several independent measurements that agree. It needs controls that rule out contamination and chemistry, and it needs enough information to identify the cause. NASA describes this as a ladder of life detection. Its rungs represent different signs of life, arranged by how strongly each may point to biology. No single rung is enough on its own. Viking's findings still shape that strategy, and the equipment used to test it. Its most important legacy may be the standard it forced every later experiment to meet. The Viking landers are still on Mars, silent beside the soil that confounded them. 50 years later, Viking's signal still matters because it forced scientists to ask a harder question. What evidence would truly show that another world is alive? Viking did not answer that question. It showed how carefully it must be asked.